not. Hello everybody, I'm just seeing if this is going to work. I'm going to refresh refresh the Facebook group, see if we've got anything happening in there. Hopefully we'll be going live in just a moment. Yeah, it looks good. Wow, it gets quicker and quicker. Sometimes it takes like ages to go, but this time I think we're good to go. So you can probably see by the little card that I'm talking today to Arindo Duque. He's been on the podcast and we've done webinars together and so on. I should probably put my camera on like that so you can see me. We're talking to Arindo today about WP Ultimo, but more specifically about a kind of a little component of WP Ultimo. Because, as you may or may not know, well, actually, first of all, should we say hello to Arindo? That might be a good thing. Arindo, we can't actually see you at the moment. We can see your screen, but I don't know if you want to stop sharing your screen or what have you, but
okay.
Up to you. Arindo is from WP Ultimo. He's the founder. And what we're going to... There you are. Hello. What we're going to be doing today is Arindo's going to be showing us, like I said, a component of WP Ultimo, because a little while ago, WPMU Dev decided that they were going to discontinue a whole suite of their plugins. One of them was a plugin called Pro Sites, which I know that quite a few people were using to create like a multi-site network. And nowadays we seem to be calling these things WAS, WordPress or Website as a Service. And of course that creates a bit of a problem in that you're not entirely sure what to do with your Pro Site network because it's running on Pro Sites and that's going to be discontinued. Well, Arindo is here because he's added something to WP Ultimo called... have I got this right? Is it just called the Pro Sites Migrator, Arindo?
Yeah, it's pretty much it.
Perfect.
That's all it does.
yeah. So it basically, if you've got a Pro Sites network and you're looking for a way to manage this in the future, well, look no further. WP Ultimo is, I think, basically the only viable option for you. And Arindo has made it so that you've got this kind of point and click interface for migrating everything from Pro Sites. So the idea of this this webinar today, really, this Facebook Live, is to show you what that all looks like. So Arindo, if you want to share your screen, we could probably make a start. If anybody's watching this live, thank you, that's great. Please feel free to add any comments and I will try to address them to Arindo. Oh, there I am on Arindo's screen. I will try to address them to Arindo as they come up. But if you don't watch this live and you watch this in the Facebook group in the days or weeks to come and you've got questions, probably a good idea to tag Arindo in your comment so that he knows that there's something that he perhaps might like to look at. If that's okay with you, Arindo, is that okay?
Yep.
Perfect. Right, in which case, shall we crack on? What I'll do is I'll just hand it right over to you. You take the floor, and I'll interrupt if anything super urgent happens.
Sure. First of all, thank you, Nathan, again. I feel like I'm here every other month now.
It's good.
So the idea here was to make a tool as simple as possible. So we decided to focus on the core stuff, the things that would be really, really difficult to migrate by hand. So subscriptions, the Stripe integrations, the PayPal integrations, move the transactions over so you don't lose all the payments your clients have made so far. The main settings, so things like currency, API keys for Stripe and for PayPal, and blog templates, which is a huge thing in Pro Sites, and Ultimo has like an equivalent feature. So we just translate all of that to our way of doing blog templates, and domain mapping. So those were the core parts of Pro Sites that we focused on migrating at first, because migrations like this, they will never be perfect, because there are a few differences between how Pro Sites work and how WP Ultimo works. And I built WP Ultimo in the first place because when I tried to build my first network, I wanted to do some things that Pro Sites wasn't able to do. So that's the whole origin story behind WP Ultimo. And because of that, because I had a very specific idea of how I wanted my network to work, I took some decisions early on that made WP Ultimo a bit different from how Pro Sites work. So more or less about a week ago, we wrote a post on our blog explaining the differences, the main differences and the main the features that we share. So there we compare some of the features that are available on Pro Sites that are also available on WP Ultimo, and those are the features that we try to make work automatically with the migrator. And we also highlight the differences, which might be a deal breaker for some. So the main differences here is that while Pro Sites keeps most of its management screens and the sign-up flow itself on the front end, WP Ultimo keeps the account page on the dashboard for the user, and the entire registration flow happens like in a place that is not really the front end, but it's not really the back end as well. We did that way to make it as theme agnostic as possible. And the main difference is that the subscriptions on Pro Sites and WP Ultimo have different points of contact. So this was the hardest part of the integration, of the migration to make it work, because if you allow a user to create multiple sites on Pro Sites, each Pro Site, each site that user creates is attached to its own plan and its own subscription. That's how it works. So maybe you sign up for a personal blog and you don't want all the crazy features, so you go with the lowest plan, and then you want to build a portfolio, so you sign up for another site on a higher plan. So you have two subscriptions, one for each different site. This is how Pro Sites work. When I built WP Ultimo originally, I wanted to have something closer to the classic SaaS model, where you have different plans with different quotas. So the way WP Ultimo works is that you can create a plan that allows for only one site, and another plan that allows for two or three sites, and another plan that allows for unlimited sites. So that means that the subscription is not attached to the site anymore. The subscription is attached to the user. So that's a huge difference. And as I said before, it might be a deal breaker for some.
Right.
Because maybe the entire business model is based on the idea that the user can create multiple sites with different subscriptions, and that's not really how WP Ultimo works. So if that's the case, I'm not sure if there's a way. You might need to rethink your business model if you're planning to migrate. We are actually, as a team, considering like bringing this option to WP Ultimo as well, but of course it's not available yet. So if you decide to migrate now, you might need to give that up, at least for now.
Okay, that's good. That's a very honest. That's a very honest thing for you to do. So explain the limitations of what you're offering. Thank you for that.
Yeah, so I think that covers most of the similarities and the differences. And as I said before, there's a blog post uh, on wpultimo.com /blog. And I think we can move on to the migrator itself.
Okay, fabulous.
Awesome. So I created a demo Pro Sites network here. And we don't have WP Ultimo installed. We just have a couple of WPMU Dev plugins. So we have Antis blog, domain mapping, the new blog templates, Pro Sites itself, and the sign up terms of service. And here on Pro Sites, we can see that we have a couple of levels available. Pro Sites calls these levels. The equivalent on WP Ultimo would be the plans. And you can see here that I created a bunch of plans here with different prices. And I created a hidden plan as well that is not visible, just so we have like more things to migrate afterwards.
Okay.
I also created a couple of coupon codes. One is a 10% discount.
Okay.
It has no expiration date, and it has a limited number of uses. The other one has an expiration date, and it's good for unlimited uses. It's for $50 off. We also have here the general settings of Pro Sites. So I added a trial, a 10-day trial, a setup fee, $25, and I have added different upload quotas for each of the plans.
Yep.
No currency settings. We are using the USD here, change the setting here. And finally, I think, the payment gateways. So the good thing is that both Pro Sites and WP Ultimo share the available gateways.
Good.
So both programs have a PayPal integration, a Stripe integration, a manual payments integration. So here on PayPal, I have it all set up with the API keys. The same is valid for Stripe. Okay.
So this would represent a typical sort of setup, would it? This would be a normal site with normal settings, something that we'd be familiar with if we've been in Pro Sites regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And before we started, I created a couple of subscriptions using Pro Sites. So as you can see here, we have a couple of sites.
Okay.
First, we have a template site.
Yep.
That I'm using here on blog templates, which is another WPMU plugin that is being discontinued. So I just set that site as a template here. WP Ultimo will convert that later. If we go back to the sites, we have one that belongs to Chester, and it's on the lowest level. And Chester has also another one that is on the highest level possible. And Jeremy has one site as well. So if we go on one of those sites, we can see. So basically, this is the Pro Sites subscription management screen. we have received here a payment. PayPal notified us about a payment, and the subscription is valid until June 16 next year.
Okay.
So there's a reason why I created two sites on different plans for the same user. So when we wrote the migrator, we have to make some choices, especially about that difference, that main difference we talked about earlier. So what happens when a user on your network has more than one site with different plans attached to it, with different prices?
Yep.
So what we decided to do was to combine the sites into a single WP Ultimo subscription.
Okay.
And basically sum up the prices. And since the integrations with Stripe and PayPal, they will not stop working, you would still receive different payments for each Pro site. So if you're paying like $5 for the starter plan and $25 for the extreme plan, you still get like 5 and 25, 5, 25.
I see.
And receive. But the subscription on WP Ultimo would be created for $30.
Okay.
That way, if that user decides to cancel the subscription and later he decides to come back, the new integration will be created by WP Ultimo using that $30 instead.
Okay. Okay.
So it was, I think it is a sensible compromise, and it's a way to handle this edge case where you have a single user with multiple Pro site subscriptions.
Yeah, as you explained at the beginning. Okay.
Okay, so let's go to the migrator itself.
All right. Is the migrator is there a fee for the migrator, or is it just packaged as part of your WP Ultimo subscription?
Yeah, it is a free add-on.
Okay.
So as soon as you install WP Ultimo and activate your copy with your license key, it will show up on the add-ons page.
Yeah, lovely.
So I'm going to install WP Ultimo first. We're going to need that.
Okay, so this is nice. So we're seeing it right from the beginning. It wasn't even installed, so you can't be accused of any trickery. In it goes. I wonder how many people. Wonder how many people were using Pro Sites in its entirety. Do you have any? Has it been a busy few weeks with inquiries about this?
Yes.
Okay.
Incredible busy weeks.
Well, they actually did. Their official newsletter. I think it was a newsletter, or certainly something that they officially put out. That is to say, WPMU Dev. It did mention you as the kind of the place to go from now on. So you are kind of the You've taken on that baton, if you know what I mean, and it was handed over by them.
Yeah, as I said to you before we started, it is great news, but it all happened too fast for our small team to absorb.
Did you know anything about it? Had they reached out to you and sort of indicated?
No,
okay,
not at all.
Okay.
I find out on Twitter because a friend that I met at a work camp here in Brazil tagged me.
Right. Wow. Okay. So it was a good day and a bad day at the same time.
Yeah.
Suddenly deluged by work. Okay.
So now we're going to network activate WP Ultimo.
Okey-doke.
I'm not sure why my local is that slow today.
I find that whenever video is being processed in some way, my laptop behaves in the same way. It crawls a little bit. So never mind. We can cope. It's only a couple of extra seconds here and there.
Sure. So the first thing you see after you install WP Ultimo is the WP Ultimo wizard.
Yep.
Usually it helps a lot, but since we will be migrating most of the settings from Pro Sites, you might just want to ignore the wizard altogether.
Okay.
That's what we are going to do here.
Alrighty.
So right now we do have WP Ultimo installed, but yeah, it's really slow.
Doesn't matter. Honestly, it's fine.
If we go to plans, for example, there's no plans. If we go to coupons, no coupons, and the same is true for subscriptions.
Okay, it is totally blank.
We go to the settings, just real quick, we can see that we basically have the default settings here. In payment gateways, we have
nothing.
We don't have anything enabled.
Yep.
Just to show you real quick, here's the add-on screen.
Yep.
And you can simply go here.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
And install it now.
Okay.
I'm not going to do it by here because we actually found a couple of bugs on the migrator yesterday that we have fixed.
Okay.
So I have the latest version here, and we are going to be releasing it later today, hopefully.
All right. So if you're watching this live, hold fire for 12 or so hours.
Yeah. Okay, so let's install the migrator now.
This feels like the build-up to a magic trick. It's like the magician is laying out all the cards and showing you that his sleeves are empty. You know, he's not got anything hidden up his sleeves. There are no subscriptions. There are no payment gateways. There's very nice.
Okay, so let's network activate it.
I think it might be we're doing this on Skype, and I think Skype in particular is the guilty party in your slow site, possibly.
Okay, so here we are. It's basically the same layout as the WP Ultimo wizard.
Okay.
And the idea here is that we will guide you through the steps. And so here we have a small introduction of what the migrator do and the things that it does not do. We also link to the post that I mentioned about, so you are 100% aware that there are differences between Pro Sites and WP Ultimo before you decide to move on. So after you read this, you click Let's Go. And here we inform you a little bit about the risks. I admit that I went a bit overkill here, telling that damages to your multi-site network that will not be able to undo without a backup. I just want to
I can understand.
realize that. But in reality, we managed to get the migrator to work in a way that it doesn't really modify any of the Pro Sites original data. So even after you migrate and you decide that WP Ultimo is not for you, you can simply wipe the WP Ultimo tables. WP Ultimo has an option for that.
Okay.
And uninstall WP Ultimo, reactivate Pro Sites, and things should work as they worked before.
Okay, fair enough.
But even then, please, before you run the migrator, create a backup of your network, and if possible, try to run the migrator on a staging copy of your network first.
Yep.
Just so you can be sure that nothing major will break. So then we'll make you say that you understand the risks and that you want to move on.
I think fair enough. In all honesty, Arindo, it's clicking that button could be a big decision. So I think it's very fair that you've set that out. Why not?
And again, there's a small message that says that clicking continue here won't do anything yet.
Okay.
So let's continue. Here we have some options. The idea is that we are pretty sure that this migrator will not be a static thing, so it is possible that we will continue to add different migrations as we move on, especially because you don't have to migrate all the things at once. You can select which migrations you want to run. So maybe we'll add a new migration later that you think will be useful, so you can just reactivate the migrator and run just that migration. So that's why this is called options, even though there's only domain mapping options.
Okay.
And here's another thing. WP Ultimo is built to work with pretty much any domain mapping solution you want to use. You don't have to use the domain mapping solution that ships with WP Ultimo. So if you are using WPMU Dev's domain mapping solution and you are happy with it and you don't want to risk losing all your domain mappings or have a client sites break, you can just skip this step or check this option that I want to continue to use WPMU Dev domain mapping, and we won't make any changes to that. But if you want to migrate, you can select this option, and then you check the SSL settings for your network, and WP Ultimo will migrate your domain mappings as well, and they all should work.
Okay.
But for the purposes of this quick demo, I'm just keep things as is.
Okay.
So continue. Okay, so finally we are at the migrating step. Here's where the action is actually going to happen. So we have all the things that we want to migrate here. As you can see, some of them are optional.
Okay.
So maybe you don't want to migrate the transactions, maybe you don't want to migrate the blog templates or the coupons. Some are not, at least the first time you run it, like settings and plans and subscriptions, because the migration works like in a chain. So we are not able to migrate subscriptions if we have not migrated the plans before it.
Right.
And the same thing is valid for settings. So the first time you run the migrator, we need to make sure that we are migrating those three elements, at least those three elements. And we give a small paragraph explaining what WP Ultimo will do. And then you click Start Migrating. Shall we do it?
Yes, go on. That's good.
Okay, so here he goes.
By the way, Dimitri from Breezy is watching this live, and he's saying he actually appreciates the fact that it's going slowly because he can actually see what's going on, which is a rather nice thing for him to say. So here we are. This is the bit that I really like. I like watching these things spinning around. I don't know what it is. I can get very mesmerized by progress bars and things that spin around. Sad to say.
Okay, so it seems that things are going well so far.
Yep.
Creating subscriptions, 2 subscriptions created. Transactions, 3 transactions.
That looks so simple. I bet that was really hard to achieve in code, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a challenge. Okay, so the migration is all done by now, and I don't think we had any errors at all. And we then arrive at this plugins step. So there's a bunch of WPMU Dev plugins that WP Ultimo has a similar function that is already built in WP Ultimo. So you no longer need that plugin.
Okay.
So, and you don't need Pro Sites, of course. That's the whole point of the migration.
Yep.
So, but actually, some of those plugins will break WP Ultimo sign-up flow.
Okay.
So, Anti-Splog is a good example. Sign-up DOS, the OS is a good example. So, right here, we give you the opportunity to deactivate those plugins for you. You can choose not to deactivate Pro Sites if you want to make sure that things were correctly migrated. But here we're just going to deactivate everything.
It's just a simple deactivation. It's not removing anything. It's simply deactivating the plugins. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so we are done.
Nice.
And here we give you the option to read the migration logs. It's just a simple log file that WP Ultimo creates for you, telling what it is doing. So maybe if you run into any issues and you want to contact our support team, you can just send the migration logs, and we'll be able to see where things went wrong.
That's
it's
handy.
basically
Yep.
just saying the things that it migrated. And now it's the time to check things. So let's go to plans first.
All right, I'm trying to dredge up in my mind what these were called. Yeah, that looks right. Starter, Pro, and Extreme. Oh, and the hidden one as well. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, so we migrate all of the plans here with all the prices. There are a couple of things that I didn't show you, but for example, on the WPMU Dev domain mapping plugin, you can select which plans have access to domain mapping.
Okay.
And we have migrated that as well here.
Okay.
We also migrate plugin access. So on Pro Sites, you can select which plugins are available to each plan, and we have migrated that here as well.
Oh, this is great.
And on the quotas, we have migrated the disk space for each plan as well.
Nice.
As well as the setup fee here.
Yep.
First, before subscription, let's go to coupons.
Yeah, that looks right too.
Here, we migrated the coupons. This one is good for 100 uses, never expires. The other one expires on June 3rd. And one is for $50 off, and the one is 10% off. Things seems to be working. And now for subscriptions. Here's the crucial part, because the thing that if you look the WP Ultimo roadmap, you see that a Pro Sites Migrator is there since 2016. Someone suggested that, and we never actually got to do it. And one of the reasons was that I was afraid that we would need to break the connections or remove the subscriptions on Stripe and PayPal.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
And that would mean that all of your clients would need to re-add their credit cards or reintegrate PayPal. And that can lead to your clients having second thoughts, like, do I need this?
Yeah.
So that was my main fear. But we actually found a way to keep the integration working. So there's no action required on your client's end. It just continues to work normally. So Now we have 2 subscriptions here, one for Jeremy on the Pro plan and one for Chester. And here we applied the higher plan, the highest plan of his 2 sites. And here is the total value of the 2 subscriptions that he used to have. So if we go there on Chester, we can see that we have added both of his sites. His subscription is still valid until next year. And the transactions were also migrated. So if you, for example, want to issue a refund on a payment that was received via Pro Sites, you can do it here on WP Ultimo.
Wow, well done.
And here is the integration. So you never, there was no, we didn't have to end the subscription on PayPal. The subscription is still there. It is still a valid client. I'm not sure why it's not linking to the right place. Let's try that again.
Sandbox, it's all looking good. There you go.
Okay, so here you go. So as you can see here, this is the Pro Sites identifier. We did have to make some changes to WP Ultimo to get PayPal to not have to end the subscription on PayPal. And we released the new version 1.9.11. But yeah, that's pretty much all the migrator do.
That is remarkable.
Of course, if we go to, let me see here. Actually, let me copy the URL here just to save some time. And if we go to register, now we have the WP Ultimo sign up flow instead of the Pro Sites one.
Is that the, I was going to ask that actually, are there any like things that you need to pass on to your clients? Like, have you rewritten certain URLs that Pro Sites would have taken that WP Ultimo perhaps didn't, so that you don't have to, I don't know, have them being confused about where to log in and so on? Just normal WP login,
Yeah, it pretty much all stays the same. The difference, I don't remember the password that I set for that. Okay, let's try Chester.
That's looking better. Yay.
Okay. So the main difference is that WP Ultimo adds a couple of widgets here. The good thing is that both Pro Sites and Ultimo just add an account menu item, both here and at the top bar. In the top bar, they are in the exact same position. So
that's good. Was that by design, possibly? Yeah.
And here, the difference is that the account item of Pro Sites is the first one, I think. It's above the dashboard one, and ours is here. But yeah, not a lot of differences other than that.
I suppose the UI is, that screen that we're looking at there. Like you say, the widgets are going to look different, have different layouts, and so on and so forth. But that's a minor thing. I'm sure that if you shot a quick Loom video or something, within 5 minutes you could explain the new differences. And also, to be honest, you could really sell this as an upgrade to the old platform, because I think it's fair to say that WP Ultimo is it does this and it does it really well. And I'm sure anybody who would end up with WP Ultimo as a customer, of somebody that owns it, using a multi-site, they'll be pleased with what they get.
Yeah.
That's
pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have any questions as such. I think the point of this really, isn't it, is just to sort of show that it's out there. If you do have any questions, then just stick them in the comments. You know, my guess is that more people will watch this than are certainly watching it live. That's always the way it goes. And just put the comments in there. I would recommend that you tag Arindo, because what often happens is you'll write a question and I'm incapable of answering it because I simply don't have the expertise. So if you tag Arindo in those questions, then you hop back and you're in the WP builds group, are you, Arindo? You're a member in there?
Yep.
Okay, so that'll all work. The other thing to say is that if you head over to the WP builds deals page, which you can find at wpbuilds.com/deals, you can actually get 20% off WP Ultimo. I don't know why you would be watching this necessarily if you weren't looking into WP Ultimo. That would be a bizarre choice of video. But if you're looking to purchase it for the first time, you can get 20% off by using the coupon code WPBuildsDeal. I think I've got that right. Go to wpbuilds.com/deals. To find out if that's correct. You scroll down, it's about 3 rows down, and you can see it there. No more questions, Arindo. So I think, unless anybody suddenly pipes up with a question, we're gonna probably say, yeah, thank you very much. I can't think of anything to say. I suppose one thing I would ask is, have you? Obviously, this is now being released. It's ready for the public. Have you had any problems? You obviously said there was a bug over the last couple of days. Is this now your main focus for a little while? Are you just focusing on the migrator and getting it polished up? In other words, if things go wrong, can they reach out to you and expect a fix fairly soon?
Yeah. We do have like a handful of fairly large networks that were migrated already without any major issues. We did found a couple of minor bugs. But yeah, nothing major. But if you do find any problems when you try to migrate, contact our support and we'll try to fix it right away.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to click the finish button, and I'll stay on the line, Arindo, if that's all right. But I'm going to say goodbye to everybody who's watching live and those that are watching this video after the fact. Thank you.
Thank you.